Hello and welcome back to another episode of Into the 99, where we've got 99 cards, cause Commander's number one. It's just me and Sherman today. Sherman, how are you doing?
Not too bad. I've been starting my strength training for physio, which ironically actually sucks. So I'm extra sore now. How about you?
I'm good. I had a nice busy week. Again, like I said, we're doing a little bit of a pre-record kind of thing for our summer break. So we're a few weeks in the past by the time everyone hears this. But no, I've been pretty good. I'm just getting ready for a little trip we're going on and everything. So nothing too exciting in my world. Wishing I was building more Warhammer stuff. I told you that I wanted to go build the station deck. And then, so I went and I bought a few of those and I built like 3 different versions of the station deck, like just like big, like token, different themed ones.
Yeah.
And I was a fan. It's pretty fun. So
I figured that would be the case because you're a token player. You love tokens.
I do love tokens so much. The station stuff's pretty cool. I still really have to go through all of that set. But yeah, that's I guess, yeah, like I do like to play tokens. You're not wrong. I like to just mass things up, right? So I really like the citizen route. So yeah, I just had a lot of fun building that stuff. I hadn't built anything in a while. So it was really fun to actually sit down and go through stuff and build decks again. Because I took, I didn't really take anything apart, but I took a few things that were for, I have a big like box on the table all the time. And it's always like what I'm in the middle of building. It's, the big white 4-row boxes. They're always full. So when there was a big event at our LGS and I took some of the stuff out of those boxes, I was like, you know what? I've been trying to build this deck for a while, never got around to it. I don't need to have like 5 Ozoliths like in this one pile, like sitting there. So I just took some of that stuff out and got rid of some of those cards that had just sat on my building table for a year. So it was actually really fun to go, and I filled most of that box back up with new stuff that I was building.
Never ending cycle.
Yeah, I like to build so much.
See, this is what you need to do. Okay, since you're constantly building Warhammer stuff, just take all your Warhammer decks and then make the figures or paint the figures according to the cards, so that every time you cast that card, you can bring out the
slap it down.
Yeah, bring out a Titan that's like 2 feet tall.
I actually, the Warhammer stuff, when I got it, the deck that I played the most was I usually try decks in the order of the worst one, I think. Like, I'm like, I don't really want to play this. I'm going to get it out of the way. I'm going to play this. So when I got the Warhammer decks, I tried the vehicles one first, because anyone who was listening at that time knows that I was like, I don't want a mono black vehicle deck. This sucks. This is a bad idea. Like, vehicles and artifacts is and that deck was so good out of the box that I never got around to playing the other ones. So I just had I had all the other ones basically fully assembled. I took the demons one apart because I wanted to put some of those things in like the Kalia deck. So, but I never played like the Swarm Lord deck. I never played the Marnius Calgar theme token Inquisitor one. I never played any of them. But now that I'm playing Warhammer stuff, it's been fun. So they are actually in my pile right now to keep making, because I was like, well, I do like Tyranids. These are fun.
There you go. See, I like the Necrons. I'm kind of sad that I missed the Warhammer Commander sets, because I literally just didn't have the cash. Like, I couldn't afford it. So I'm like, okay, well, there it goes. But it is what it is, right? So,
yeah. There again, I'm still. To this day, I am still shocked how good that deck is out of the box, like the mono black Necron one. And actually, I guess this kind of ties into a little bit about what we're playing today, because, like I said, I was like, this sucks. I don't want to play this. And then it's consistently been it's a deck I can grab for any occasion, and it's just fun. The Necrons deck is just a really cool out of the box deck. I don't think it's one I'll ever change.
Yeah. And they have a great lore, too. The Necrons, holy smokes.
They sure do. That's the problem with Warhammer, just as a quick aside before we talk about today's stuff, is it's all good lore. It's all cool lore. And then I'm working. I'm like, let's listen to 3 hours about this Space Marine chapter. And then I'm like, well, now I got to build these. And that's with everything. And then it's the same thing. I listen to the Necron ones and I was like, man, those are cool. Like, I gotta, Tomb Worlds are like a pretty cool idea, and they're just waking up. I gotta help them rise back to power and build a Necron army. What are we talking about?
Yeah, fair.
It's it does have quite the story. I like that about Magic 2 back when it was more story based, less now we're in space kind of thing. That was, but I do hope I would love if they returned to block sets where they flush out a story in a multi like plane, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's never gonna happen. We're Wizards will never go back to that. It just does not make enough money.
But I want it so badly.
You want it, but that's a different story, right?
Honestly,
shareholders.
Honestly, even if it was like we are doing block sets, but it's Spider-Man, I would be like, all right, I'm still interested at least.
I would be like, I'm a giant fan of Spider-Man. I grew up on Spider-Man. Like I love the like I'm looking forward to the set that's coming out. Mm-hmm. But even then, it's like I have to say, like, there's too much stuff going on for Universes Beyond. Like, I love Final Fantasy. You guys hear me? Like, I'm a giant nerd. You guys hear throughout the episode, I'll throw in tidbits here and there and all that stuff. And even I'm like, this is getting too much.
Yep.
So,
well, again, there's just there's just not a break to it,
Yeah, if we had a break, or like this came out like once a year kind of deal, then it'd be hype, then it'd be exciting and all that stuff. And then I could afford it too. I can't right now.
Well, that is a little bit of the that's a little bit of the problem, is because, like you said, it's just endless right now. How do you afford to keep buying a set every week or two?
And that's the thing. That's the thing too. Like even if you wait, like Costco has been coming up with the Commander bundles for each deck from time to time. Like the latest one is or the last one I got was for Final Fantasy, because I only got 2 of the pre-cons, and then I finally got a third one when they came out in Costco, and they keep on rolling them out, right? So it's like you have a tough choice now. Do you want to support your LGS, or do you want to wait like 6 months?
Or do you feel like affording to play the game? Because and that's the thing, LGSs just can't keep up at the problem with those big retailers is they don't care. They're not you know what I mean? The Costco doesn't care if they sell out of a Commander set or a product. That's what they want. They want to sell out of it. So they're like, here is our markup. This is what it is. And that's, but like LGS, like you can't put like a Final Fantasy deck for $50 and have them there for more than a day. It doesn't work.
No, it doesn't work.
Yeah, they're gone. I didn't get any of the Final Fantasy Commander decks, but if I saw them for like the cheap bundles that they get, I'd be like, well, yeah, I get those. And I didn't even want them. And I was like, I take them. Right?
Yeah.
The like again, it is kind of a bit of a bummer because I used to, I'm a little tangenty today, but I used to always look forward to the Commander set of the year. Like, when it was like Ikoria and the Commanders coming out, I used to just sit there and put a bunch of cash like aside and be like, you know what, this is where I'm going to go. And I would usually, they'd have 3 options, like a partner option. I would pull them apart and I'd be like, I'm making Xeris, Anhalden, and Paco. I'm making like all of these. I would rip them apart into these other decks and be like, these are cool, unique ways to play them. Then I'd be all excited to be like, here's my like Xeris group hug guys. And then like I made a Halden and Paco like CEDH deck. And I changed them all so many different ways. And it was really fun to explore. And like they kind of had this two theme focus where you could lean into one or the other as functional, but it wasn't that. And now they're all, first off, they're all just focused decks. They all kind of just work out of the box pretty good, which is, I guess, nice. But it makes it so that there's a lot less editing that goes on when you're playing these decks. And again, every 2 or 3 months, 4 Commander decks, 3 there's no time to rip those apart and play and stuff,
Yeah. No, not enough time, not enough money.
If you were a brand new player, let's say that you started playing in like January, and the only decks you owned, you just owned Commander decks. I think you'd be at 14 or 15 decks already. Like,
yeah,
like it's just, there's no like end to it. Like what's the release schedule this year?
Crazy.
What have we had so far? We had Final Fantasy.
Yeah. We had Edge of Eternities.
Yep.
So, hang on.
Let me look here. We had Aether Drift.
Yeah.
And we had Dark here.
Yeah, and we had Tarkir.
So you'd have
one-
the Aether Drift, Tarkir, Final Fantasy, Edge of Eternities, and then at the end of next month you'd have Spider-Man. So you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
you'd have a gigantic collection of decks already. Like, you know what I mean? I think that's more decks than most people own.
And that's the thing. Like Spider-Man, granted, they're not doing a commander set, which is nice, you know. But after Spider-Man, we're also receiving a bunch of the previews of Avatar as well.
Yeah.
So
yeah, we're getting spoiled into the future. You know,
I already made a top deck. You guys,
the top deck is cool
in the Discord.
Yeah, the top's cool. I did see this.
Yeah. So dedicated to the season 2 episodes 10 and 11, the library and the desert.
I like that you're at least thematic. Everyone else is like, here's an infinite combo with this. I'm like, don't just post infinite combos.
No, it's related to these 2 episodes. But anyways,
yeah,
we can really get to the topic here.
I'm just trying to look here. So 1 second. Aether Drift had 2, Tarkir had 5. So if you just only bought Aether Drift and Tarkir, you'd have a 7 deck collection. 7. Final Fantasy had what, 4?
4. Yeah.
So yeah, your minimum 11 decks with if just those 3 sets.
Then Edge of Eternities was 2.
Oh, forgot about Edge of Eternities again. Yeah, so we're at 13. By the end of the year, you'd probably be at 15, 16 decks minimum. Well, Avatar will have 4.
Probably.
Yeah, it's it is quite it's quite the thing. Today's that we're talking about kind of goes into a little bit of this topic when you're kind of getting a little bit of a burnout with the game, or you want to just get better at the game, right? So I'll let you take us away a bit with what we're talking about today. And yeah, also, hello everyone, welcome to the show.
So we're talking about our sponsors.
Oh yeah, let me hit the cha-ching. I gotta make a cha-ching sound. But anyways, if you want any cards, just in general, go to houseofcards.ca, promo code IT99. They are a great place to shop. They are a great group of people. Gets you a discount at the checkout. It supports a wonderful business. It supports us. There's really no downsides to it. I love AI armor sleeves. That's where I keep putting my sleeves, like decks in them. They're just nice quality sleeves, and I really enjoy them. And yeah, like, share, subscribe. It does help us out. Come over to Patreon, build decks with us, chat with us, play games with us. There's a good group of people, and I appreciate everyone over on Patreon. So with that out of the way, what are we talking? Right.
So this is a topic that basically something that I practice quite often, and I preach fairly often to most people. Like my play group especially knows this. And that's the fact that people should be playing with new mechanics constantly. Mm-hmm. Okay. And there's a number of reasons why. So what it comes down to is this, okay? Do you want to get better at the game? The majority of us are going to be, yes, we want to get better at the game. What is the best way to learn to get better at the game? Lots of people have articles and topics, talk about it and all that stuff. But the number one way to get better at the game is to learn the game. Mm-hmm. It's very simple, okay? If you learn the game, you get better, okay? But you're saying, we all know how to play the game. We're all here because we know how to play the game.
Not me.
That's not what I mean. What I mean is, like, you have, like, the way I look at it is that you look at math, okay? I know math. Woo! You can learn the basics, addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, all that stuff, okay? You learn the basics and you can get by, okay? It works for everyday life, all that stuff, yeah. But if you want to be very proficient in it, you want to get better, you want to expand your knowledge, you learn other things. You learn algebra, you learn calculus, you do the probability, statistics, things like that. You expand your knowledge. The same thing with Magic. Sure, we can learn the basics. We can, like, here's the library, here's like your land, here you tap for mana, yada, yada, yada. But what's beyond that? Let's face it, there's a lot of rules in Magic. Do we know them all? No, we're not judges. We're just fans of the game. Okay? So how do we get better if we're not going to be like judges or go for the judge program and whatnot? Well, we're going to learn a mechanic. Okay? And when we learn a mechanic, things happen. So the number one thing is that well, like I have a bunch of topics here. I know I'm talking a lot, but the purpose is that like you when you're learning a new mechanic, you're basically reading how it works and you're trying to combine things to work with it. Okay, so we have a number of different points. I'm going to start off with the first point here, and we're going to have a discussion on it. Okay,
really quick
First
before
thing
you
is
go,
that-
one sec before you go to that point, I just wanted to say too, the easiest way, like you said, it really is just understanding it, right? If you're not a spell slinger player and you don't have a good grip on when to actually use removal, when to, you know what I mean? It's not as simple as just like, well, I have 2 mana, so until you actually play these like spell slinger style decks, you don't really understand what it is, and you're not going to actually get why people are countering you at this time. Why is that? Like you have to go through the thought process, because the game plan for an aggro deck very, very different than a deck that needs to build up to this like game plan, like a late game like spell slinger or control deck. They don't pump goblins out turn 1 or turn 2, and if that's what you're used to and stuff, right? You have that. Just sometimes you're going to have that. I want to play what's in my hand right now. Here we go. I play this now and now and now. And you see that in a lot of players. They just when they don't understand an archetype, even when they use those, like I don't play instants a ton, right? I play all aggression, but I do have a lot of spell slinger decks. But you have players like Brian. Brian loves the enchantments. Brian loves like big creatures, big cool plays. And I find that when we play with Brian and stuff, Brian will use removal really, really early, because again, that's what Brian's game plan is. Get it out. I got the mana to do this. I got to do it. And you find some people that are like, well, I don't want to waste the mana, so I have to counter a spell this turn. Doesn't matter what it is. I've got to play it, right? So until you get those actual, until you actually get the reps in, quote unquote, with the new style, you're kind of just stuck in whatever your own head is, right?
Yeah, like you're stuck in your play style, your play patterns, on stuff. We want to move past that, and the first key thing about playing around with new mechanics is the fact that it doesn't have to be good. It's the process that matters. Okay, so let's say like in the notes I gave Daniel and Slothy, but unfortunately he got called out last minute for a job. So, but like the key thing is that when you learn a new mechanic, once again, like you said, you read the rules, you're trying to understand what it's doing, what was the purpose, how you like make it work. And then from there, you start doing your card searches, you find out which commander is good for the strategy, and you try to build it, yada, yada, yada. Does it have to be 100% perfect off the bat? No. No one cares. All that matters is that you get familiar with it. So like Daniel, you said, you're not much of a spell slinger guy. You're a token guy, okay? If you build a spell slinger deck, okay, maybe it doesn't go well. Okay, and then you sit down and like, okay, why is it not working? Is it just because the fact that it's a spell slinger's deck and spell slinger decks suck? Or is it because you throw in a lot of like cantrippy things to draw into other things, but your commander doesn't care about that? Or maybe it's like you did it scaling, where it's like, okay, you have a bunch of X spells, so it doesn't matter when you cast it, but you're always trying to maximize the X cost, so that's actually slowing you down.
Mm-hmm.
Right? There's tons of different reasons for different things, but you don't know until you try it out. And if it sucks, it sucks. But you have to look at it and be like, okay, why is it not working? Okay, or if it is working, it's like, okay, good job. Why is it working? Like, what is working in there, and are there any cards that are dead? Can I improve it more? Can I push it past its limit right now?
Well, when you look at it like that, right? When you understand it and you build, like you said, you look, okay, this is working for this play style. Well, now I'm going to start to see the play patterns of what will make it work for other people, right? Because a spell slinger deck, for example, like if you know that I'm going to be all kind of instants, I'm looking to keep mana up. That I want to use low rocks so that I can have that available to get that right. Like you threat assess in these ways because you understand. Like again, you said you figured it out, right? The basic understanding of the game is just that. And if you don't understand a play style, it's really, really easy to not like, one of the things I pride myself the most on in Magic is I'm very good at guessing what people are going to do. And that comes from, I have so many decks, but I'm really, really good at like looking at a board state and be like, you get that ink shield in your hand, don't you? Like calling out the exact of what people have when they have it. I'm like, yeah, I know what's going on. Cut that out. And it's very fun to do that, but it's only because I know, like I look at a board state and I say, well, if I was playing this style of deck, what would I be doing? You know, what would I have put into an Orzhov deck, and why am I, you know what I mean? I've got 5 cards in hand. Why have I not tried to play a board wipe in the Orzhov right now? Why have I not done that? Why am I leaving myself open for an attack? And I'm like, well, obviously an ink shield's coming, because that's what I would do. I would put an ink shield in an Orzhov one. Instead of blowing the board up, I want to make my little inkling. So I would leave myself open. And that's generally how I threat assess is just a lot of the time, because I know how people generally build. I know the commonly included cards, but you know what I mean? I'm not the normal player in that sense, because I just like to build so many decks. I am the heart of your point here today. And it's really fun. It's really fun to try new play styles that you don't do. One of the things I say all the time, like, I'm not an interaction player, but if you've listened to our like show for a long time, you know specifically I am not a graveyard player. But I got a lot of graveyard decks. I have like the Teyam we were talking about, like the Luminous Enigma. I have a Marin deck. I have like a bunch of I got an old Stick Fingers deck. I love that deck. It's pretty silly. But I have a bunch of like great Muldrotha. So many Muldrotha decks. I got 4 Muldrotha decks. You know, it's I just have a lot of different styles. But when I try something new and I find, like I said earlier with the Necrons, when I find a new playstyle, it's really, really interesting, because I often underestimate stuff that I don't understand. I nonstop, I'm like, vehicles suck. And then I see a Sherman deck and I'm like, well, that doesn't suck. That's pretty sick. And then I'm like, wait a minute. This is pretty cool. This survives board wipes. No one's packing artifact removal, really. You know what I mean? You've got 2 or 3 pieces in your deck. My vehicles are safe the whole time. I'm surviving board wipes. I'm like, you get to see like new, exciting things that you're just unaware of. I really, really think that it's like you said, a lot of times when I build stuff, it's not good, but it is fun to try it out. You edit it up, right?
Yeah. And that's the thing, like as you pointed out, a lot of mechanics link to each other, right? So if you want to play, like, you know, we're talking about like vehicles and anything and stations, tapping creatures, there's a lot of mechanics for there. So like station, crew, there's convoke, there's exert, there's conspire, there's things like that, right? We mentioned earlier turn scaling. So you have like, you know, like X spells, but what else is there? You have like things like kicker, multi-kicker, squad, offspring. You know, you talk about graveyard, sure, like there you have self-mill, you have hand wheels, cycling, surveils, loot and rummaging. There's all these different mechanics that we can combine to each other, but at the same time, like they're similar, but at the same time they're different, right? So an example I had was that you can compare a station and a vehicle or crewing, right? The difference is that station is a sorcery speed only, while crew can happen basically any time.
Mm-hmm.
But because the station is sorcery speed, things like a Seaborn Muse, Drum Bellower, Veteran Beast Rider, things that untap on other people's turns, is more helpful in a station deck than a crew deck or a vehicle deck, right?
Well, yeah, because you need the untap. You only have one opportunity, right? You can't wait.
We'll be right back.
Ever wondered what a rhythm-based stealth game with dinosaurs might look like? Or a farming sim in space with zombies? Welcome to the Gaming Blender podcast. I'm Matt, and with my co-host Scott, we take a random game genre and random game mechanics, blend them all up, and pitch wild, totally hypothetical games you've never heard of, and maybe shouldn't. New episodes every other week. Hit play and unleash your inner game dev. No coding required. Search the Gaming Blender on your favorite podcast app now.
So it's a big difference. It's a really big difference. So like if someone tries to like make like, you know, oh, I'm really familiar with vehicles, I'm going to, you know, and I want to play the station, you know, mechanic. Why is this not working? Oh, it's because like, I can't tap my creatures at any time to station or to charges on my station.
Mhm.
I have to do it on my turn. So now I'm putting all these things that are untapping, but now those take up slots for other things like interaction or like other things that make my artifacts into creatures right away, stuff like that, right?
Yeah, you said two
know,
things I wanted to touch on there really quickly. Number one is the that is the one of the best ways is to learn rules, like just a better understanding of the game and the threat assessment. Because yeah, if you again, I'm not big into the Edge of Eternity stuff. I haven't gone through the spoilers really yet. I've been busy. If I'm not understanding it and I just come in with the mindset of vehicles, like vehicles number 2, Electric Boogaloo, right? And I don't understand, then I might think that, okay, well, Sherman's tapped this because he's not afraid of me. He's tapped his creatures because I might not understand it's just sorcery speed because I don't pick the card up and read for everything. I'm like, okay, well, he's got something. I can't come at him, right? So I might overestimate the threat that Sherman is posing because I just don't understand the rules of it. And then I don't want to make an enemy of Sherman. I'm not going to attack him. I'm going to keep over here. I'm going to attack someone else. Unless you understand, like, the Magic's a huge, huge game, right? So understanding the intricacies of every rule and like everything is fine. But like you said, the game plan of a surveil deck is very, very different than like a self-mill deck, right? A lot of them, they're looking for answers and they are getting, you know what I mean? They're more top deck manipulating and benefiting from the graveyard passively. Whereas like self-mill doesn't care. It's blanket, like, we're going to war and we're putting things in the graveyard, right? But like the way that these like the things play and how they play out, knowing timing restrictions, those things are so important to the game. They really, really just matter a ton. But I did want to say before, because you skipped past the one part I really like, which is your turn scaling. If you got lots to say, I get it, but you should have a bit of a game plan when you're playing a deck. One of the things that I like to look at is, like, just generally, where should I be turn 1? Okay, I'm playing an Angels deck. Turn 1, I'm probably not going to be on the board. You know what I mean? Turn 1, I'm making jokes. Where do I want to be turn 3? I'd like to have a rock or 2 out because these are big creatures, right? I've got 7, 8 cost Angels in my hand. I got a Sunblast Angel. What am I going to do on turn 3? Nothing. So I'm trying to be like, okay, well, I need some rocks early. I need something. We know that a mono white deck's not the wonderful world of ramp, right? So where do I need to be on these things? And then from there, I can say, okay, well, by turn 5, I need to have like 6 or 7 mana available if I'm playing an Angel deck. You can't try play a deck where your CMC is like 6 or 7 plus and only just drop mono lands, like, unless you drew 7 lands in your opening hand and nothing else in your deck, right? That can't be your game plan. But when you expand those horizons out and you see other things, you turn scale other people a little bit too. You say, okay, well, like, I can see that Sherman is like playing a Nekusar deck. Nekusar wants to wheel. He wants Nekusar out. He wants to damage me when he's there. What does Sherman's like path to success look like if Sherman's having a good game? Well, he's going to want to ramp early. He might Winds of Change me on turn 1, which is hilarious, and I wouldn't fault him for it. But you know what I mean? You have to look at Sherman wants me drawing, right? So if I have draw enablers, I got to get them out before that Nekusar is there. I have to understand what Sherman's game plan is. If I'm playing Xerus and Sherman's playing Nekusar, I'm in for a bad time because I'm trying to draw a bunch of cards. I'm trying to do that, and Sherman's also trying to have me draw a bunch of cards. He's playing a different group hug kind of game. But yeah, understanding where other people are at and where you're at, it is very important. And until you've tried that deck style, right, you don't really, you know what I mean? Where you want to be at on turn 5 with a mono blue deck is very, very different than where you want to be at turn 5 with a goblin deck.
Yeah. And like, to add on that, like you're saying, like, with the turn scaling and whatnot, like, if someone does play like a Nekusar, and you don't have infinite hand sizes, you might not cast your spell for the kicker or the squad or the offspring. You just want to get things out so they're out on the board and they're not going to your graveyard instead, right? So you have to go like for the sub-optimal play. It's not the optimal play because you want to be able to, like, cast like something with squad like 5 times. No, you don't have enough time. You don't have enough mana. You can do it, But in exchange, you're going to be discarding 4 cards to the grave. So what are you going to do, right? So you tend to pick these things up as you try other mechanics, other concepts in a sense, So if you do want to build a deck where it's like a bunch of expels and whatnot, you might be, okay, I'm going to cast this expel for 1. I know it sucks that it's just 1 or even 0. Who knows? Right? But what's the purpose of it? Are you just casting it just because your commander says like, oh, if you cast an expel, you get this bonus? Or is it because all your expels cost X less, where X is like your commander's power kind of deal, right? So different strategies require different things. Like they're both scaling, but they're both very different in a sense.
Yep. They as well too, like you're able to when you're trying those things, you are able to experience the game at a bit more of a budget too, because like you said, you don't need it to be a wonderful, amazing deck. You're just trying something new, and it is very nice to. There's no way around if you spent a lot of time building a deck, and maybe your deck style that you just built doesn't work into your meta, and it's devastating. I have like friends who just slap some decks down. I've got a bunch of players like there's a lot of people I play are straight like stacks players. Like Dean loves a good stacks and stuff like that, right? That shuts down a lot of the nonsense that I like to do because I don't really like to pack removal. So I gotta try politics the table and stuff. It can be frustrating if you're like playing one style over and over and you kind of get notorious for, okay, well, Sherman packs interaction. I got to kill Sherman before Sherman deals with me, right? When you're trying something new, you're also giving yourself a break from your like own common play patterns. It's really easy to just go in with something that's not super expensive, right? Like you don't need to have like you said here. Sherman gave me so many notes, but you don't have to have a Smothering Tithe in every one of your decks, right? Like a lot of times your Smothering Tithe just doesn't even work that way, right?
Yeah, exactly. And that's the thing. It kind of leads into the next point here, in that it does allow you to learn which cards you may be relying on too heavily, right? Because when you try new mechanics or you try different mechanics, you gain a variety of knowledge and a variety of card knowledge with it, right? So instead of like constantly being like, okay, every single white deck or a deck that has white in it has to have Smothering Tithe, well, let's not do that. Let's put something else in, even if the commander says, hey, whenever you create like a token, create another token, let's say, like you double up, like, so should you put in a Smothering Tithe? You can, it'd be super, super powerful in that sense, but why bother? You're not really learning anything in a sense. A powerful card is always going to be a powerful card. Who cares? That's not the challenge, right? The challenge is to improve. Do you improve by having the best of everything? No, you improve and get better by, being like the underdog, rising to the challenge and whatnot. When you know that you can, like, there is no challenge, you're just going to beat everyone down because of these, like, pricey cards and everything that are overpowered or, like, or overperform. It's not as much fun. At least that's what I find.
I will say, to add to that right there, the thing that I think has made me the best player that I can be is when I transitioned away from my decks that were full of mana crypts, that were full of because anyone can drop not right now you can't, but anyone could have dropped like a mana crypt Jeweled Lotus, you know what I mean? It's right now dropping nothing. But when I got away from that like faster mana and stuff, and I started playing with I love the diamonds. I can't say enough how much I enjoy playing those like stupid Sky Diamond, all those things, because they're just fun. I know that I don't have fast rocks. I know that I've got to try, make my game plan has to be a little bit different. I got to make a little bit more time to chat with my friends and You know what I mean? I can't just like ramp everything up and be like, bam, this is turn 1 Muldrotha, and I play Lionized Diamond.
Yeah.
Right.
Woo.
Yeah.
Woo.
We get it. Okay, great job, Daniel. Your budget's wonderful. It's like I said, I had a lot of fun playing those decks back in the day. But when I reach for a lot of my older decks, I just don't have the same fun as when I'm like playing silly stuff and I'm, you know what I mean? I'm playing my 2 mana rocks, my 3 mana rocks that are slower. My Enter's tapped. It's, again, even when you have an explosive turn, right? Playing a Soul Ring Sky Diamond is very different than Soul Ring Arcane Signet, like Lana War Elf or something, right? Like,
yeah,
it's still, I can be like, yes. But the fact that I've got this like tapped thing, I can be like, well, it comes in tapped, you know, gotta settle down. It's a little bit. But that's the thing. When I budgeted my decks down, I started having way more fun because we've talked so many times that you have to start searching for more answers. You need your cards to fit multiple roles now, right? You've got to look for cards that have multi-purposes instead of just relying on all the power bangers. Because yes, every deck that has Smothering Ties in it, there's never a bad time to play Smothering Ties. You know, it makes you a lot of mana. We get it. Yeah. It's wonderful. You know, but just when I don't have access to those cards, because that's my favorite thing. Like I said, I play in a very big control meta, and a lot of people love to counter my stuff. And my favorite decks that I've talked about endlessly are Rego decks. What are you going to counter in my Rego deck? You know what I mean? Oh, I countered your Ornithopter, I guess.
Ooh.
I mental misstep your Slither, your 1/1 Naga unblockable snakes. You know what I mean? It's okay. I play another one.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just when I budgeted my decks down, I just started having so much more fun, and not just because it's budget. Again, I like having that, but because of specifically needing to understand different like ways to get around stuff. And needing to understand that, like, again, it's fun to drop fancy cards. The game is so full of really cool arts and Goose doubling seasons, Big Mother Goose doubling seasons, and Secret Lair this and Spider-Man version that. I get it. Beautiful artwork, but like trying new things that don't have access to those really, really does help you as a player. It makes you, because again, it's so easy to rely on similar play patterns of like, okay, well, I cultivate every deck and then I'm going to cultivate into Parallel Lives. Now I've got my token doublers, and you know what I mean? Like you want to keep just going on tokens. I've got to put Doubling Season, got to put Parallel Lives. Well, how about the mono white Oger creature? Well, I got to put him in. He doubles tokens. And now the Edge of Eternity's Angels. Like you're starting out building, when you have these similar play patterns that you don't like try different things. You're starting out building decks that have like 33 lands and like 45 cards that are already pre-made, and then you're selecting 10 different ones per deck.
Yeah. And like it's boring. Like, or like, think of it this way. Okay, like so I don't know about the audience, Daniel, have you ever heard of like a Pokemon Nuzlocke?
No.
Wait.
But let me look.
So for the audience that doesn't know what a Nuzlocke is for Pokemon, it's basically like you have 3 rules. Okay, because let's look at Pokemon first. Pokemon, like I'm looking at the traditional game, the old-fashioned games and everything, where you just go around, you go through the tall grass, you get like Pokemon, you throw the ball, catch it, all that stuff, go through the 8 gyms, yada yada yada. Okay, what a Nuzlocke is that it has 3 rules. Okay, and reason why people created this is because they're like, okay, we want to replay this, but we want to replay it like in a way that it's more challenging than just going in, grabbing whatever Pokemon you want and just beating down everything. Okay, so the challenge is basically, and there's like different rules, but these 3 rules are universal. 1, you can only capture the first Pokemon you run into on each route. Okay, so whatever you get, if you catch it, great. If you don't catch that first encounter that you run into, you don't get a Pokemon from that route. Period. Okay.
So it is per route. So you still get a few. I was just looking at these things. I pulled it up.
Like if there's like 30 routes, you get like 30 Pokemon plus whatever, times like someone might trade you, or you get in like, something like along those lines. But you get those. That's it. Okay, so you're very limited. Okay. Second of all, you have to name it, because when you name it, you grow attached to it. And then, the third thing is permadeath. when your Pokemon dies, it's dead. It's gone, right? So why do we do this? Why are people why do people do this challenge? It's because it's fun. You're not having fun when you go in Pokemon and be like, okay, I have like all these god ones that are super powerful, and I wipe every single gym battle like easily. Like I kill them like all one shot with one Pokemon.
I cast Geodude. I bring out the god of space and time. Whoa.
Yeah, exactly.
Whoa.
Yeah. No, I have a Rayquaza. Here you go. Go nuts. Like, no, it's you don't have that. Okay, you're stuck with what you have, and then if you rely on something too much, and then it goes away, it dies. What do? Right? Your one powerhouse is gone. You have to go through your box, your all the Pokemon that you have, and see like, hey, where are my weaknesses? Where are my strengths? How can I cover up my weaknesses and everything? Same thing here.
Do you ever have you ever played the Fire Emblem games?
Yeah.
I when I was playing like the first one, like the first one that came out like out here, at least not the actual first one, but the first one with like Lynn, Hector, Eliwood kind of thing, right? Maybe it wasn't Eliwood, I can't remember, but it had Lynn and Hector, those kind of. Anyways, I spent a bunch of the game cranking up the stats on a bunch of my side characters, and I was like, these guys are awesome, they're sick, and I didn't level my main characters like at all, and I was like, nah, these are awesome, and I had like these, just probably like everyone who's ever played Fire Emblem, if you have, I got these big sick paladins and knights, and these things can't be stopped, and then you need those other characters to be leveled to fight in the end because they hold like a special weapon, and you didn't level them, and it's wrecked the whole game. That definitely made me work my teams out a little bit better after that. Again, I still always remember that playthrough of Fire Emblem when I got to the end and I couldn't do anything because I had put all of the eggs in that one basket of like, this guy's OP, he's sick.
And that's the same thing here though, right? You can put all your reliability, or like you rely everything on the same things: Smothering Tithe, like tutoring for your answer, your Ozolith, your Scoot Swarm. Who's sick of seeing Scoot Swarm in a landfall deck, right?
But it's a very original thought.
We get it, okay? What if we remove all of those? What are you left with? Can you do something with, the junk cards, as people can refer them to from time to time?
I have
or draft chat and whatnot.
We've never done this one because we like people, but I have a deck specifically. It's my again, I like to build kind of stupid commanders a lot of time. So I've built a Toxrill one like this, but I also have an Una, the Queen of the Fae deck. And the only thing in this deck is mana rocks and the cards that either let me control people's turn, like a Mindslaver, Worst Fears, that kind of stuff. And then like the things that let me search through their library and take their cards away from them, like the what's the card that has the big kicker and it searches their opponent's Sadistic Sacrament or something, I think. Let me see.
I don't remember which one. There's so many cards.
Oh yeah. Let me pop this up. Let me quickly read this one. This is what's in my Una deck specifically for a lot of the people I play with. Where's my pop-up screen? Sadistic Sacrament, great card here. It is a 3. It's 99 cents. Wonderful. 3 black mana. It's a sorcery. It has a kicker of 7. Search target player's library for up to 3 cards, exile them. Then that player shuffles their library. If this is kicked, instead you search the library for 15 cards, exile them, then that player shuffles. I live to cast this card because I have so many players that I play with that do specifically. I love top deck manipulation. To me, that's one of the best like forms of once you play with top deck manipulation for an opponent where you have a Kodak Shredder, target player mills their top card, you ruin a lot of tutors for people. You ruin their okay, I'm going to keep this on top with like the temples. You really wreck the game plan if you can manipulate the top card. But if you ever get a chance, Sadistic Sacrament, your friends, take all of their fun banger cards out of the deck and see what they're left with. It is really, really fun to like be like, you have no Seedborn, you have no Psych Rift, you have no Smothering Tithe. Oh, your counterspell, that's gone. It's so fun to play these things. But my Una deck is specifically for that. It's to just go through. I also really like to do this with people's lands. That's neither here nor there. I think it's really funny to take all of the colored land out of people's deck.
Yeah. And that's the thing. Like it's you don't run into cards like that when you're throwing in nothing but like overperforming staples.
Mhm.
You know, like in my play group, just like your card there, we like to play a card called Head Games.
Love it.
Okay, Head Games is 3 double black, is sorcery speed. Target opponent puts cards from his or her hand on top of his or her library. Search that player's library for that many cards. The player puts those cards into his or her hand, then shuffles his or her library. So if Daniel has 7 cards, he puts those cards on the library. I take his library and I give him a brand new hand. I give him brand new 7 cards. At this point in time, I could either be his friend, his ally, give him nothing but pure gas, or, which happens the more often thing, he gets nothing but lands.
All the time I play this card and I ask people, what do you guys think? Should I help out or should I be funny? And everyone unanimously is like, be funny. And I'm like, okay. And then I go, when people say be funny, I go and get them their like removal cards and I just say, all right, I gave it to you, leave me alone.
Yeah. And that's the thing. Like looking on the EDH Direct Head Games, okay? Like it's like a $3 card. It's in 4,006 decks. Okay? 0.12% of decks have a Head Games. So chances are, whoever's listening, you probably don't play this card.
I love, again, that's in that Una deck that I was just talking about. It's all these really annoying cards. The same thing, Worst Fears. No one really plays Worst Fears. I bet that is not in many decks.
Worst Fears. Let's look it up real fast.
Let me take a look here.
Worst Fears. So, Worst Fears, let's just read it out real fast. So, or wait, you already read it. It's in 0.31% of decks. It's in 10,292 decks.
That is still a lot more decks than Head Games.
Yeah, it's still more. So, but that's the thing. Once again, you're not playing these cards if you're putting in the overpowered cards. Okay, if you're doing if you have a demonic tutor, okay, the chances of you searching for Worst Spheres or Head Games compared to a Smothering Tithe, I don't know. Most people would probably go for the Smothering Tithe. Okay, but the thing is, your decks are gonna lack variety because you're not, you're not. Like, sorry, let me say, you're relying too much on these powerhouse cards, right? So when you learn a new mechanic, you're gonna try new things because you don't know what to expect half the time. Okay, sure, it's similar to other mechanics that you might have played before, but there are still subtle differences. So, and you have to work around those subtle differences. So, one strategy doesn't work like the same way as another strategy, even though they're related with the having creatures taps, for example, right?
Yep.
So, and that's the thing. So, like I have a note here. Like back in the day, like it's easier to do janks now, and to explore these newer cards and these new mechanics. Okay, back in the day, and I have this example here in the notes here. Back in the day, when there was around like 20,000 cards, which is still a lot. Okay, like I like building a theme deck, and the theme deck I tried to build at this time was right when Throne of Eldraine came out, and I was trying to build my Song tribal deck. Okay, at that time it was mono green, and I had Yisin the Bard. Okay, because he's a bard, he goes around, he travels. You request a song, he's going to sing the song. Okay, hence that's casting the spell, right? Now, at that point in time, in the pool that I could choose for cards, okay, I had approximately 150 cards I could choose from to build this deck. And you're like, hey, that's plenty of cards to choose from. Not really.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's not very many.
It's not many cards, and those cards that I could choose from aren't that great. So my example for that is that at one point in time, I had to choose. I had to choose between the card Sandstorm, which a lot of people know, okay, compared to so Sandstorm is like, you pay 1, it's an instant, you deal 1 damage to every attacking creature. Not that useful.
But hilarious.
So, and then I have that, or I would choose Golden Bear, which is like a 4/3 vanilla creature. It's just a 4/3 for 4 mana. That's it. Okay, those were my choices. compared to now, if I look at the Final Fantasy set, you know, I can, like, 2 of the cards I can choose from is, like, one of them is the Earth Crystal, and the other one's Diamond Weapon. Those are 2 crazy cards that I can throw into this mono green theme deck, right? And like I said in the beginning, the deck does not have to be good. It does not have to work well. Okay, the goal is to just try it out and play it and see what works and what doesn't work, and try to improve on it. Okay, if you try and you don't like it, fine. Okay, just don't toss it aside. Keep working at it. Okay, nothing. If you stop and you quit, you're not going to get better with that one particular thing. You know, you need to keep on going and find out what does work and what doesn't work. So like you said, Daniel, before, you did not care about vehicles. You don't like vehicles and all that stuff. Then, you know, I come along and I'm like, here's my vehicles deck. Look how silly it can be. And if you remember, like, it was Misako with the Humorless.
Love
and I
that
had
one.
vehicles with banding.
It's such a silly way. Again, yeah, you can always block, you can always attack. You decide how people do damage to you. It's I love it.
And the purpose of this, and this was like ages ago. This was like 4 years ago, like 4 or 5 years ago, right?
Yep.
You know, and the purpose of it is like, okay, I can use this one creature to cruise this vehicle, and that vehicle can cruise this other vehicle, and that vehicle can cruise this other vehicle. So now I have 4 blockers. Oh, and one of them has banding, so your creature's gonna die no matter what. And I don't care what happens on my side, because I can spread out the damage, right? So, and that's the thing, like, you know, I bring it out and people are like, what's banding? What's going on? There's a reason why you guys all know that I love this mechanic. I've been talking about it for ages. How many of you guys try it? You know, it's great defensively. It's annoying and difficult to pull off of, you know, being like aggressive and offensively, but defensively, it's fantastic.
I have a lot of decks where my like win con is trampling over with infect or just trample damage in general. I got big stompy beast decks kind of thing. And yeah, we're like, okay, well, you assign all of the damage to this creature and you trample nothing.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't want to.
And people are like, yeah. And people are like, you can't do that. I'm like, yes, I can, because that's the rules of banding, right? I decide how to distribute the damage.
Well, that goes back again. If you've never played with banding cards, right? You don't know how those work, and but knowing how like the banding stuff works, that gives you a unique rule set that a lot of people underestimate how frustrating the mechanic can be.
Yeah. And it changes the math when it comes to things, right? So like doing stuff like this makes it very unpredictable for your opponents. So, and that leads into our next point, is that you can play with nothing but power, but that doesn't mean you understand the game.
Yeah.
Okay. So like Daniel, like you were saying, like once again, you guys know this from the past episodes and everything. This is how we met. Daniel sold a Pearl Mox, and you built Madrotha.
Yeah.
You sat down. First game you play with it was with me.
Yeah.
And in this pod.
I still think that's such a funny game. Yeah, exactly. I'm sitting there playing like a bunch of like like just like I have like $1,000 of mana rocks on the table, and Sherman's like, I'm playing book travel. I was like, oh.
Yeah. So now you have a choice. Do you stomp the guy that is not a noob, knows how to play the game, but has a deck that where you ask the power level, my answer was -2.
Yeah. I when you said too that you like you try different things, you make it work, you don't give up on it. I love seeing an unorthodox way to play a commander. I really, really like when somebody surprises me with what's in a deck and what's like the game plan. I'm like, this is awesome. When I see just a silly deck, I'm like, this is wonderful. When I see an expensive deck, I'm like, oh, that's like cool. Like you got some cool, fun cards to play and stuff. But when I just see something that like functions not how I would have guessed it, if you surprise me in any form, I'm always like, oh, I'm always very excited.
And that's the thing. the whole table has that same reaction, like virtually every single time, because you're just like, oh, that's really cool, that's really unique, and all that stuff. But like, it also shows that you understand the game, okay? Because like, once again, let's go back to the math example, okay? I can give you a complex math equation, and you can just punch in the numbers and be like, here's the answer. Fine, cool. We get that with like right now, like when you go down on Mox Field or Architect and everything, they're doing like the probability, showing like, okay, if you have these categories, or like, how many creatures you have, the probability of you drawing into this on turn 1 is like, a 96% or, a 56, depending on how many you have, yada, 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 yada. Okay, sure, you can do that. Or you can understand why that number comes up. Is it just like that? Because like that number means like 1 or more. It's not just like, you'll guarantee, like you can punch it in and be like, okay, well, what if I manipulate where I want at least 3 in my opening hand no matter what? Well, it's not a 96% anymore. It's going to drop down to like, like a 68% or something like that, or 60%, right? And even then, you're going to be like, okay, well, of those 3 creatures, how many of them are in that mana curve where I can pump things out fast and get things like a defense out or something like that, or be aggressive and attack or whatever, right? So you can have these tools and be like, okay, according to the website, according to this equation, 98% of the time, I will get a creature in my opening hand. All right, why is my deck not working when my deck is like all about creatures? Well, how is the curve of your creatures? How like are like of those like 40 creatures that you have, or 47 creatures that you have, okay, are 40 of them like mana value 5 or greater? Because if that's the case, you're not gonna get there, right? It doesn't matter. The numbers are kind of basically lying to you in a sense. You have to understand how those numbers came to be first in order to get better and understand it more, and then have your deck run more efficiency, right? So it's like one of the gripes that I have with my play group is like, we'll be sitting down and like we'll go through like someone be like, here guys, look at this deck, and then like, okay, your curve is way off. It's like, what? My curve according to like like Architect is like a 3.5 to a 4. It's perfect. It's like, okay, yeah, but like all your like half of your stuff requires an activation cost, not just a tap, but an actual activation cost. Like it requires 1 mana or 2 mana. Like this one has 5. That's gonna throw off your curve, and you don't learn this by going on and being like, oh, this person has this deck tech, I'm just gonna copy it, and play it, and like I'm gonna throw in all these big, overpowered cards and everything. You don't learn that from that. You learn it from trying new things and being like, why isn't this working? I followed these things. Why is it not working constantly? Right?
What you said here really quick, I play a lot of CDH, and I think it's really fun to just play meta record decks where it's just like, again, I know that you do this, and my deck's not particularly good, but it is particularly good at interrupting the one thing you're doing, because like you said, very easy to go look at like a deck tech and everyone's like, this is the game plan for this deck. And I'm like, I just have to interrupt that game plan. Okay. And those people really don't like that at all. They do not like when people like play like one of my favorite things to play is I live for playing the card Folio of Fancies in CEDH, because no one has any respect for it. No one ever counters it. No one does anything. And you see so many people that are just like, oh, like Thassa's Oracle, like win. And I'm like, draw 1 card. What? Yeah. Draw from your empty library. And they've got their counter spells in hand. They're waiting for interaction from me. They see that I've got some mana up. They're like, oh, he's going to counter or Fierce Guardianship. Don't worry, I'm protected. And then I just, draw 1 card. Play, just draw a card from your empty library. And it makes people pretty furious. It's one of my favorite ways to win the game is just when someone's trying to Oracle win and I just get them to simply draw 1 card with something stupid that nobody plays, because it's just like weird and unorthodox. You can get a lot of people off guard if like you said, they haven't built the deck. They haven't done that. They've just like, here's a deck tech. I'm going to give this a try. When we do deck techs, I always say like, this is a shell. Everyone can build a deck better than I can build a deck because I just put stupid things in it. There's lots of room to improve. And, you know, you can take a lot of stuff out. That I love to play shells. We make a ton of cool budget shells that I've seen so many people be like, this is my version of it. A lot of people at events have told me I've built Tivit. This is my Tivit deck, like the Democracy Sphinx kind of thing. And they're like, this is the path I go, or like, I really liked that and I saw the ramp. This is my Tivit Sphinx's deck. And I'm like, that's really cool. But yeah, like if you just like go cookie cutter the same thing, you're gonna just kind of get into, like you said, you're hoping for that like one, okay, well, now it works this way. It's kind of like playing baseball. You can watch baseball a bunch, but if you've like never actually gone out and like tried to hit the ball, you have no understanding of like how it is. Like my game plan can be like, I'm just going to go out, you know, it doesn't look that fast. All those other guys are hitting it. You know, I'm strutting onto a major league field. Here I go, got my bat, and then I get nothing. I get struck out because I just don't understand the game at all.
Yeah, and like that's the thing. Like being a player compared to being like a fan is very, very different, right? So, like the nuances of like when to swing, how to swing, you know, like who's on base, like should you bunt, should you not, should you like, you know, like there's a lot of strategy behind it.
It's all strategy that comes with that time. You got to put time in. You got to try it.
Yeah, and that's the thing. If you want to get better at something, you have to put in the time. You have to put in the effort. You know, and it comes down to like the thing, like, you know, like with baseball, like, do you want to be a fan or do you want to be a player? Right? Like you can be a fan. We're all fans of Magic here.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Or else you wouldn't be listening and playing the game. Like we're all fans. Okay. Or you can be a player and be like, okay, I understand this. Here's this concept, you know, like, oh, someone give me a second. Someone's asking for a judge ruling. Give me a second. Let me go over and let me deal with that real fast. You know, stuff like that, right? Like, what kind of a person do you want to be?
Mm-hmm.
So, like, the example I have is like where you can be like, or in the notes is like, do you want to be the, oh, look, he's playing blue again. Guess we need to watch for counter spells kind of player, or do you want to be the person who is like, okay, tell me honestly. I know you're playing red-green, but do you have any counter spells on you? Just answer the question. Stop saying maybe. Just a yes or a no. Are you playing counter spells? Like, which player would you rather be?
I love dropping a mono blue deck on the table, and then it's just trash birds. It's like flyers and everything. I just because no one's expecting that I'm just gonna be like, yeah, get wrecked by 1,000 pigeons of death, you know, like it's just all garbage. But do you got enough blockers to block the garbage? I don't think so.
But that's the thing, like with trying new mechanics, you're gonna try different things, and like basically like with the new mechanic, it's like, okay, here's the equation to win. Okay, how do you get to the answer?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, that's dependent on your deck. Okay. How well do you know your deck? Well, like I know these cards. Well, how well do you know them interacting with each other? Do they synergize? Are they one-off? Are you playing a glass cannon compared to something that's combo intensive? Are you there to pillow fort or just politics your way to victory? Right? There's all these different questions that are beyond just the deck itself, but you don't get to that until you understand how the mechanic works in the first place, right? So, and like, if you're worried about playing a new mechanic, just choose like a commander that's, you know, good for a variety of different things. Like Yarok is fantastic for that, right? Sure, it's all about doubling ETBs, but it's like, okay, well, instead of like ETB landfall, I want to play with adventure.
Mm-hmm.
You know, or not adventure. That's like diving into dungeons.
Yep.
Or venture into dungeons and everything. I want to play with dungeons. All right, let's play with a Yarok deck. It's a good commander. It's very versatile. Everyone sees it and they're like, oh, okay, like we got to watch out for this. And then you start pumping out like dungeons. Like, okay, let's hold off. Let's see where this goes. Like, how strong is it? How powerful is it? Do I have to worry about it or not? Right.
To talk about that point, I have built Zaxara 4 separate times, and I've taken Zaxara apart 4 separate times because, and I never take decks apart. Like But it's just like to me, that's like a commander that just has like one play style. It's just and I always find that so like there's really no other way to play Zaxara other than like I have ramp, I have X spells, I make big hydras with the X spells. You know, like it just to me it's a deck that just always performs exactly like everyone thinks it's going to perform. It's a mana rock and I really don't have fun with that because like you said. I love to see like a silly Yarok deck where like you're venturing into the dungeon, you're doubling up your dungeon triggers and you're getting those silly things. That's fun to me. That's a cool idea. And then I'm like, oh, like that's really unique. I never thought about like trying this way, but yeah, like it's I always talk about Zaxara when I talk about decks that I don't enjoy because it's such a one style play. And again, if you like playing Zaxara, there's nothing wrong with that. It's just I find that there is really only one build path. The commander is just so specific that unless you're going the most like absurd of jank and it's your commander has nothing to do with it and you're just trying to trick your friends and be like, this is actually my landfall deck for some reason, just in the colors. I just wanted a bad commander to fool you. Then I just always find it overperforms. It does the same thing and it bores me. But when you said too, I did want to say, I keep forgetting to get this point in. You don't have to go build another deck to try a new style. One of my favorite things to do is to just talk with the group and everything. And everyone picks a deck and then we just roll and we see who plays what deck. Because you're number one, you're going to want your friends to have fun. So you're giving them a deck. Well, I think people are going to enjoy playing this deck. It'll be fun. And then on top of it, you're playing like me piloting Sherman's deck and Sherman piloting my deck are two very, very different game plans. We politics different. We're different people. We have different threat assessments. Like me playing Sherman's like Bard deck is going to play very differently than Sherman plays his Bard deck, right?
Yeah.
So like you can't always just like, especially if you have like a group you regularly play with, just switch decks, try them. Be like, hey, like I'm gonna try like Slothy, you try this deck. I want to play your Marnius Calgar. I want to see what this investigation deck's all about.
And that's the thing. Like we constantly say like, you know, like the cards do matter, obviously, but cards aren't what win the game. It's the pilot that wins the game, right? Yeah. Because, you know, if you have like experience teaches you things when it comes to the game. Okay. Early on, like let's look at Evolving Wilds. Okay. Early on, when you have Evolving Wilds, okay, most people will just crack on their turn and pass and all that stuff. Then later on, as you play, you're like, okay, normally I should technically do it on my opponent's end step, just in case, you know, whatnot. Same, like this is especially true for like, you know, fetch lands and shock lands and whatnot, right? So in case you need to grab like, you know, a planes to like swords or something like that, you learn that from experience. Do we really carry Commander? Not really, just because like we try to speed up the process, so we'll just do it on turn, just like pass and just, you know, by the time we search and shuffle and have someone cut, it's our turn again. Because it's like normally fairly early on. But you can look at that and be like, okay, well, what about counter spells? You always hear that people say, don't counter the tutor that someone's doing, counter the spell that person tutored for as they're casting it, right? You don't learn that early on. You learn that as time goes.
Yep.
Right. Same thing with a mechanic. When you have a mechanic, everything's a new mechanic when you first start off. So you don't know what to try and everything. Once you try a few things, why are you stopping? Why don't you learn the new stuff? You should be learning more. You should keep on learning, right? And that's the thing. When it comes down to the game, we're going to have new sets. We're going to have more cards. We're going to have more new mechanics introduced to the game. So right now, let's say you know absolutely 100% every single rule out there for the game. You are like a level 100 judge. I know that's not a thing. Don't hit me for it, okay? Let's say you know all of that, okay? Your glass is full to the brim of knowledge. People go to you for everything. A new set comes out. Now, that bowl has gotten bigger, and you have to fill it up again because different mechanics comes with like different interactions and different rules changes and everything. Look at Final Fantasy. We had to make a huge rule change with sagas when they were creatures, right? And then you remove all the abilities, and now like they're not sacrificed. They just stay on the board with just no abilities. Okay, that changed things like the how Blood Moon affects things like Urga Saga.
Yeah, weird layer interactions.
Exactly. Okay. Now you can either be like, I'm not gonna play that stuff. I'll worry about it when it comes up, and then I'll try to learn it. Or you can be proactive and be like, I'm gonna learn this, and be like, oh, you know what? This is an interesting interaction with something else. Let me try this, and go on and on and on. Because once again, a lot of mechanics overlap with each other. But they're not 100% the same.
Well, even like I unquestionably have a bad blind spot with Edge of Eternities. I really haven't looked at the cards. I don't really know what's in the set. I've seen a few cool things here and there, but I'm woefully, and maybe I'll start playing some Arena that's generally how I find a bunch of these cards again and stuff, but I don't really know those set cards, right? So if I sit down, short of Sherman like explaining in the station deck how stations work, I don't know what stations do or anything like that, because it's just not something I'd kept up with. I'm in my own little world of deck building, and that's not a good thing. That's not like it's not a positive strength where it's like, yeah, I don't even know these cards. It makes it so that I can't threat assess on any of these things. I don't know what a bunch of these new effects are. I don't know a bunch of these cards that are usually pretty cool. Like I said, like the Citizen Station, that's such a cool card. And I just didn't even look at the set, so I can't threat assess that set properly. And I pride myself all the time on being good at threat assessment and guessing what people are playing. And then I've just like skipped this whole set and not looked at it. It's not a wonderful thing, right? It's something that I have to, as again, I've kind of taken a small hiatus from playing Magic, and I'm building Warhammer stuff because I love to build Warhammer stuff. But I'm still playing and like, again, playing with my buddies, and stuff pops up that I don't know right now, and I look like a fool. I've learned nothing new, and I look silly.
Yeah. So, there's nothing wrong with looking silly, in all honesty. Like,
there is if it's deliberate.
The game is hard. Magic is a very, very difficult game. We can all attest to it. Okay, we can either learn it, go with the changes, and get good, or we can be stuck in our ways and be like, oh, why am I losing constantly? Like, is there a reason why this is the case? Is it because everyone's picking on me? Oh, it's gotta be. Okay? Because, like, of like whatever reasons, like everyone hates me. You can have that attitude, but but what's the point? Why are you playing a game if that's the case? We're playing a game. We want to get better. This is one of the best ways to get better. And at the same time, as these new sets come out, if something does seem interesting, play with the new mechanic that's in there. Just try it out. See what happens. Like, I've never played with energy before. When Aether Drift came out, I played with energy. It is what it is, right? And I had a great time. Am I going to take apart that deck? Yes. Why? It's too strong. And my friends hate playing against it. So I'm going to take it apart. But I had my fun. I had my fill, and I understand it. So what am I doing now? I'm moving on to the stations and making the vehicles into commanders because the rules change, because I find that interesting and I like vehicles. All right. Which Edge of Eternities, you have the warp mechanic, where you cast it for its warp cost and it goes in exile and you can cast it out later on. What cards are there that can abuse that? Well, like maybe I'll make a Raynar deck where every time something goes to the exile, I create a 1/1 spirit. Who knows, right? And I'll treat it like sort of like a blitz, mechanic. But with blitz, like things go like to the graveyard instead. So I might not have like an aristocrats strategy at so like. Things change. Like you have like mechanics are similar, but they're different at the same time. Like I said, okay, warp and blitz are pretty close to the same thing, but one where like you sacrifice a creature at the end. The other one is you exile it. Mm-hmm. So, anyways, we've been talking for a while.
Yeah, I was going to say we're getting close to that time. Did you have any other ones you wanted to wrap up here on? Like I said, the trying new mechanics is going to make you a better player, and trying sillier things is really going to improve what you're doing in general.
Yeah. And you're gonna find that it's really, really, really fun. it takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of effort. But anything worth doing will require both.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? And that's just something that you have to remember. Like, when you first play a game, right? Like, let's say this, okay? Like, my fiance and I, we're like, she's never really played a From Software game. She's never really played, like, she's played Dark Souls, but that's about it. And she's barely touched it. She was like maybe like an hour in. Okay. So I got her Elden Ring because I'm like, here, let's play Elden Ring together because I want to play this game. You want to play something like that? Let's play this together. We're literally playing with the same character. And as we're going through, we're learning that, like, early on, it's difficult. It's hard. You know, it's hard to get, like, the mechanics down. We're trying to learn how to dodge and strife and all that stuff, you know, and like when to jump and not against certain enemies. But as time goes on, we're getting better and better and better because we're understanding the different mechanics, and that some bosses you can go in, brute force them, just beat them down with a giant hammer. But other ones, it's like, okay, that's not going to work. We have to be like lighter on our feet. So, like, you know, we have to like roll more often, and we have to go for something that like attacks straight on, like a pole arm, as opposed to, like, you know, slamming down and swinging wide. You know, same thing for magic. You can do the same thing again and again and again. It might not be the best thing for that situation. You have to switch it up. You have to learn other things to encounter, like, to go against that situation so you can win.
Yeah.
That's my final thought, at least, though.
I like it. The game is fun when you learn things. One of my friends, my last quick thoughts, one of my friends is in the middle of learning magic right now. And her and her husband play all the time, and they keep playing. And when they learn new rules interactions, I can just see them like light up right now. Both of them be like, oh, like, one was like how you assign trample damage, right? Like, that's a great rule to know and understand, that like, trample only has to be lethal. If you have like a death touch, for instance, 1 is lethal, and it doesn't matter if something's indestructible. I've still assigned my lethal damage. I'm still trampling over. I'm coming through, right? That's a wonderful rules interaction to know, instead of having to, like, you know what I mean? You've got your death touch trampler, and okay, well, you have a blight steel. I need 11. I need to go over it with 11 first. No, you don't. Yeah. Nope. It's just fun to, the more interactions you know, the more you can do cool things in the game. But more than that is the more fun you can have, because you're like, actually, like, I have a solution out of this. I've found the loophole, or this works this way. And when you combine weird rules interactions with your game plan, it's very, very fun. It's really, really fun to like have like an obscure way. Like this one's not like as rare of an interaction, but even solemnity with a deck based on counters. Well, when you have something like that, right? It's such a, now cumulative upkeep works just fine. I don't need to pay any of these costs. I can play all these cool things. When you get a solemnity out with it, it's just like such a nice like piece you've assembled. And now I can play like Glacial Chasm without worry and stuff. I can play Naked Singularity without worry. Like these like stupid, annoying cards that don't normally function because I found a way on them. Or again, even like using a Hex Parasite to like remove counters off them. Cumulative upkeep is an age counter, right? Like you're removing the age counters from these things. When you learn just like weird mechanics, again, like we said, like I'm rapping here, I promise. When you say like banding, that's a unique rule to do. And when you make a Masako banding deck, it is pretty like, what kind of nonsense am I playing against? Because you can fill the board with like Mesa Falcon, 1/1 Falcon, and then you eat up my like 2020 Trampler with your Mesa Falcon. Your tapped Mesa Falcon at that.
Fun times.
Yeah.
Fun time. Yeah.
Your Healer's Hawks. Not only will I block 30 damage, but I will also gain 1 life. I like silly things for sure. That's the end of it for me.
I think we should wrap it up.
We wrap it up. Thank you guys for getting through another episode here while we're chatting and yapping away. Again, every time we do any of these get better at Commander things, I want to know what made you better at Commander. Like what was the turning point for you Do you try new mechanics? Like, what are the ones that you play the most? Like, share, subscribe. It always helps us out. People see it more. We can do more stuff. If you want to support us above that, because that's a bare minimum. Come on, people. Like, share, subscribe. It helps. Leave us a comment. I read them all, but come over to Patreon. We build lots of decks. We have lots of cool patrons. It's just a good place to chat. We've got a great group. So definitely come over, check that out. Again, it's nice and cheap. Kind of pay what you want. Hang out, good people. If you want any of the cards that we talked about in this episode, like those head games, even if it's a cheap card, House of Cards has got you covered. Go to housecards.ca, promo code IT99. You're gonna get a discount. It supports a good business. It supports us, and most of all, it supports you buying cards. You're gonna get cool stuff. And last but not least, I like the AI armor sleeves. Can't say enough good things about them. That's it. And that's it. I give the people the music.
Be funny. We're just like, stop the music now. We've got to bring back one more point.
Actually, the new mechanic that we're trying is me not talking in the outro. No, please. Have a good week, everyone.
Laters.